So I made it. It's my final run before I run the cheap marathon on Saturday. Somehow I made it through this training cycle. Hasn't been easy. I ran the best that I could. I'm really proud for winter running on a really rough winter in New Hampshire that I was able to do so many outdoor runs in the cold and snow. And while my body can't handle more than 2 or 3 runs a week, I think I got enough in for the marathon. If one important thing, I don't go out too fast, which for my first 45 marathons, I always went out too fast, figuring I'd set some new type of record, and the end was never really good until I started doing a couple where I ran the last half of the marathon faster than the first half, and I said, hey, this is pretty easy to be running down runner after runner after runner the last 6 miles of a marathon. So I hope that's what I do. The cheap marathon, the weather looks okay for Saturday. We'll see. And my goal is to go out slower than I want to. The problem is it is on a rail trail, and they start 2 runners every 7 seconds. So there's going to be a lot of people around, and I may be keeping the pace of someone that I don't want to do or feeling competitive. But if I can keep it like at 8:50 pace the first 10 miles, and if I'm feeling good, dial it down some more. And if the last 6 miles I feel really good, just let it rip as long as I can make it to the finish line. The only goal is to qualify for Boston. That's it. So I got to use my mental muscle to think I've done enough, that my body is ready, despite much less training than I would normally do, that I'm hoping that my hips and my feet cooperate on Saturday. I can have good runs with the hips locked up, and bad runs with the hips locked up, and good runs 2 days later. I'm just hoping it's a good day on Saturday, and that I have fun out there and get that BQ qualifier in, because next year will be the 50th anniversary of my first marathon in 1977. I'd like to do that at Boston. And it will also be the 45th anniversary of my first Boston Marathon in 1982, the Duel in the Sun year. And it took 8 marathons for me to qualify for that Boston. And then I hit that sun and I went out way too fast. And the last few miles I was seeing stars and walking and trying to get every orange or cup of water I could the last few miles. And I was in quite a daze, but I did finish it. It was horrible. I think the first half, I'm not exactly sure. I went out really fast, between 116, 118 pace, because we don't really know exactly where the marker is. And then I died. I think I did about a 3:24 at the end. So that second half was quite painful for me and for a lot of people. So hoping for a good race on Saturday. Hope I'm not too exuberant and go out too fast or decide to do something reckless and try for a time. This is not the marathon for a time, except I'd like to be under 3:55, and that I definitely know qualify for Boston at that. I did a 3:03 last year at Boston, which qualified me. I just have to do, a 4:03 at Boston, which qualified me. You just have to do a 4:05 at my age group, but that did not make the cutoff when they had too many people sign up for it. So looking forward to a great race. We'll see how it goes. I'm really excited about finally getting this done with. It's been a long few months trying to get ready when my body doesn't always cooperate. So we'll see. I'm not sure how many more marathons left in this body, but I do want to make it to that 50th anniversary of my first marathon. So we'll see how it rolls Saturday. Being 1 year away from potentially running a marathon that would have completed a span of 50 years of marathoning, I decided to ask ChatGPT a question. My question is, what is your best guess as to about how many marathoners have been able to run marathons for at least a span of 50 years? Since the modern marathon boom starting in the 1970s, tens of millions of people worldwide have completed at least one marathon. However, the number of people who started running marathons in the 1970s or earlier, continued running them consistently, and stayed healthy enough to complete one 50 years later is extremely small. A realistic ballpark. likely in the low hundreds worldwide, possibly fewer than 1,000 total, all time. Why so few? Attrition over time, injuries, life changes, burnout, longevity requirement. You need to start young, 20s or 30s, and still be running into your 70s or 80s. I did start at 18 years old. Consistency, even many lifelong runners take long breaks or stop racing marathons. Historical participation. Before the 1970s, marathon fields were tiny compared to today. Bottom line, if you've run marathons across a 50-year span, you're in a group that's probably on the order of a few hundred people globally at most. That's genuinely exceptional longevity in endurance sport. Holy cow. I hope I can get there and get one more year of marathoning in. That's quite wild that probably only a few hundred people have done that. So hang in there. Not only do I want to get a marathon under the time of 3 hours and 30 minutes, possibly this fall, but I want to be one of the few hundred people next year to have ever run or completed a 50-year span of running marathons.